I know that it's an international organization that has member countries from different continents. Actually, almost all continents are represented. There are some from Africa, Asia, Europe, yeah, like that. It's global.
Shemanyi ku UN, United Nations, kyekitongole ekigaba obuyambi mu nsi endala butalina busobozi kale.
Ekitongole kya UN sirina kye nkimanyiko, just nkiwulira buwulizi.
Ekitongole kya UN nkimanya ky'obugabi nikiyamba buli muntu mu ngeri ye, nikiyamba buli muntu mu ngeri ye.
A union out of nations, it helps funding some institutions like UNICEF, like IMF. It helps with security.
All I know about UN is just an organization. That's it. And it's United States.
Kale okusingira ddala nze mmanyi kuba nti no bavaayo ne batuwa obuyambi, ne batuwa obuyambi then n'okudduukirira ensi ezo ezibaddemu entalo.
What I know about the UN is an interstate organization that was founded after the collapse of the League of Nations in the 1945, after the Second World War.
United Nations is a global organization that helps out especially the refugees from all over the world.
It's like the parent, and other nations on planet Earth are the children. It usually checks on the relationships, the economic development.
Most of the activities of the UN in Africa are things to do with wars in Africa, of which we Africans are not helped at all. Case in a point is a case in the Rwanda genocide in 1994.
It was founded in 1945 after World War II, basically to preserve world peace.
Kale nze nkimanyi ng'ekitongole ekiconnectinga n'amawanga amalala agasobola okuyamba amawanga amanafu.
Is not Yanan these days? Who is he? Help me. I've forgotten him.
He's a guy from Fiji, right? Yeah? No? He's a guy from Fiji. And I need to read more international news than Trump.
Ekya UN. Ennaku zino simumanyi.
Yeah, the head of the UN is the Secretary General.
The last secretary I knew about was Kofi Annan. Was he the one? So I'm not so sure of the current one.
Antonio Guterres.
UNICEF n'ijang n'abaana hariho UNESCO niyo kwega hariho peacekeepers although tubarakozire bingi munonga nk'orutaro rwabire Rwanda tari kibayambire.
UNESCO, the one that is dealing with culture. I particularly got to know about it mainly on 16th March 2010 when Kasubi tombs were burnt down. So it came up with a voice, and it was like it recognized it as an international culture center.
I also know World Health Organization that one is concerned with health issues like immunization.
I think I know about UNICEF, is it? Is it funded by UN? UNICEF and the World Food Program, is it?
And the agencies I know under them, MONUSCO, World Food, but I'm not sure of Red Cross.
The improvement that I would like the UN to do in Uganda is to establish at least some of the agency headquarters, because we see our neighbors, Kenya, they have that one of the concerning the environment. But in Uganda, I don't think we have any. We only have branches, but we don't have any headquarters of any agency, any UN agency in Uganda. That's why you find it sometimes difficult to get the UN to get the UN involved in the issues of Uganda.
Things I would like to see them do better, I would say, would be with governance, getting involved more in the role of governance and teaching the youth and the young folk about the virtues of good governance.
We hear sometimes our nation is highly dated. They should give us dated reliefs. And it's not cut off aid funds like Trump is saying.
Bintu bingi era byenjagala ekyuseemu bantu bangi tebalina nga bakaba enjala eruma abantu bakaba enjala emmere esinga emmere tebatuukako kitegeera.
It is my prayer that these people should intervene in the affairs of Africans, especially when it comes to these election things where elections are being rigged.
What I really credit the UN for is creating and raising awareness around, in the past, the Millennium Development Goals, and now the Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, they have gotten people inspired towards achieving these goals. They've created awareness with different institutions.
UN works hand in hand with the government of Uganda in order to maintain peace and security.
I would consider two things. One, helping the refugees. I think that's a big achievement. And secondly, for our organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, we're helping community, achieve food security and also building resilience in climate change.
A good working relationship it has built with one amongst its sister agencies, then two with the government of Uganda, and then thirdly with the other stakeholders. Because it is through that we now see the achievements from the programs.
I've seen people come in here reporting the cases of human rights abuses, and the office has been able to respond to them. I feel that is a very good achievement.
They can create awareness of the Sustainable Development Goals, especially 1, 2, and 13, which are end poverty, end hunger, and take action on climate change.
I think the UN in Uganda can do better by involving private sector and corporate companies in their interventions, because right now the UN is working with the government and civil society organizations and NGOs, which I think is not enough.
I would like to see an improvement in the area of joint programming amongst the UN agencies in the area of service delivery. This would help us to cut costs and avoid duplication of services.
By improving the publicity of the UN work, in the country.
Today we were discussing with my colleague about people down in the grassroots. They really don't know what the UN does. I mean, we go out there to CSOs, you train them, you tell them about what the UN does, but still there are others out there who still do not know what the UN does. So what should we do? What should the UN come up with to address this issue?
I think the UN agencies, especially in Kampala, should coordinate with the UN base in Entebbe. The UN base in Entebbe, for instance, now have their own satellite. We've been having challenges with service providers in Uganda whereby you don't have good internet connections. But if we can collaborate and work with the UN base in Entebbe, I think we can probably tap into some of their resources that they have.
UN can improve to help youth, giving them projects to get daily income, even if they are not educated.
Hello, reception, Beatrice speaking. Okay. All right, I'll call you back. Thank you. I love working with the UN because I've got a chance to meet so many people of all walks of life. Let it be the people we serve as our end
customer, which is the refugees. Sometimes we have them here. I've also got a chance to meet people in the government, the donors, also the private sector, because we work together with them. They provide us with the transport, basically all services that we need to enable us to do our work well.
It's a nice experience. I worked for the UN in Uganda for slightly over 15 years, working in different agencies. And one of the things that I've liked is the treatment. The working environment in all the UN agencies is very conducive for work.
Particularly for me, I love the fact that it has put life into perspective, in the sense that when I visited the refugee settlement, I saw how happy these children were with very little, and that in a sense just gave me another meaning towards life.
It gives me a platform on which to support the less privileged, and that is not only on the local but also on the international scene.
Working with the United Nations in Uganda has given me a rare opportunity to serve humanity and change lives, which gives my life a sense of purpose, knowing that my service is positively impacting on someone out there.
The United Nations at least have some privileges. Yeah, you also, me as a driver, I'm also taken as an officer. When you go out, you have small allowance, at least you remain with something to do also the kids at home.
I am really grateful that to be associated with the biggest international organization, and besides that, the work that the UN does helping the less privileged people is something that I am proud to be associated with. And also I get to meet different people from different countries, different cultures, from different walks of life, and it's something that I have learned a lot from the people that I work with.
What I like about working in the UN is being able to be associated with the development in Uganda, and also being able to help the vulnerable people in Uganda, especially the women and children.
I was down sick and I was asking myself who will come to my rescue. The office came in, that is the UN, they came in. I was taken for a medical evacuation. I was treated in Nairobi. I felt I was really helped, and I felt the goodness of working with the UN. I was helped.
Working in the UN, it enhances your capacities because it's a multicultural ground where you have a lot of opportunity to improve, a lot of opportunities to grow as a staff.
I like working with UN because the rules and regulations are very clear.
The UN is a place where everybody can work. I mean, for those who are looking for, for those who are in the job market, you find that getting a job is not easy. But in the UN, as long as you meet the requirements to work for the UN, you'll always work irrespective of where you come from.
My capacity has been built. Yeah, there's lots of knowledge I have acquired. I have access to a lot of information that has helped me grow in my career, even for personal development, not only knowledge that I apply here within the UN, but also outside in my community.
I have been treated equally with other colleagues, irrespective of their sex and gender. You know, in general, the UN is a good employer. To some extent, they're even taking care of our spouses,
What I love about working for the UN is being able to interact with our beneficiaries, going to them and seeing how they live. We also live their reality. We live their reality by being close to them. Also, the diversity of culture and the different people and the exposure and a lot of experience that we get through the work we do.
The reason I love working with the UN is that the pay is very good compared to other public organizations. We have a very good pension scheme, and the leave entitlements are very generous. We also have the opportunity for staff to develop through staff learning and development. Now this helps staff to develop their capacities and knowledge.
I love to work to UN. It's the best organization in the whole world.
I've tried to work to other places in the government, but I've seen UN is still #1.